The U.S. election is less than a week away, and many Americans will be casting their ballots from abroad, including here in Canada. This country is home to hundreds of thousands of American expats. So what is it like to participate in American politics north of the border? With more on that, we're joined now by Mark Feigenbaum, a tax lawyer in Southern Ontario and chair of Republicans Overseas Canada. Good morning, Mr. Feigenbaum.
Good morning, Miranda.
All right, so how are you feeling about the way this year's election has played out so far?
Well, I think it's become exciting. Usually interim elections aren't that as exciting. As I said, it's going to go down to the wire, I think.
All right, so what is it like watching the U.S. election play out as a Republican living abroad?
We see a lot of it here. I mean, we're close to the U.S. We get a lot of the your great news tells us a lot about it every day, and so we get to follow along. We don't get a lot of the same ads that they're kind of bombarded with now at this time, but that's maybe okay too.
And what do you think about each candidate and how they've been on the campaign trail so far this year?
I think there's been a lot of activity, things going on that maybe aren't even on the campaign trail. I mean, there was a period where they weren't campaigning at all, and there's things going on, with the Supreme Court nominee, and the virus obviously has taken a big factor on this election.
And there has been an historic spike in voter interest for this election as reflected in the early voting turnouts and what we've seen. So are you seeing and hearing the same level of interest abroad with Republicans right here in Canada?
Well, yeah, and it's just so fascinating how the early vote is record numbers and people standing in line for hours and hours to vote. And regardless of the outcome, I think it's really great how people have become engaged in politics. And again, our organization is really trying to get people registered who should be registered and to vote. And so it looks like whatever's happened, that people are going out this year.
And what are you hearing from, fellow Republicans about Trump being the leader? Do they want, are they happy that he is the leader? Would they like to see someone else take the reins, if that was possible? How happy are they with him being at the forefront of the Republican Party?
Well, that's hard to say because obviously he's a personality that some people like and some people don't. I think a lot of the people are more interested in the issues. They really want to see what he's going to do with the economy, how he's going to handle the country as we get out of the virus. How there's a lot of factors beyond his personality that I think that people really want to make sure that how the Senate and how the House is going to end up voting is very important. That's the legislature, and there's so many factors this election.
It's so much to talk about. So, Mr. Feigenbaum, with 6 days left to go, Biden's lead over Trump does seem to be holding. So are you concerned at all about that?
Well, national polls are interesting, but we all from the 2016 election, it doesn't really translate into the how the Electoral College works. And so we could have extremely high polling, let's say California or New York, but it's going to come down to a few key states where it could go either way and have a lot of numbers. You're seeing them all campaigning in Pennsylvania that right now, because that's going to be a very key state. Florida is going to be a very key state. And these are some numbers that'll push somebody one way or the other.
So I have to ask, what exactly are you predicting come Election Day?
I think if he were to win Pennsylvania, Florida, and one of the Ohio, maybe, or one of the Midwest states, I think the president has a pathway to win this. It's really hard for Republicans starting without California and New York, so they have to get some of these key states. And the advanced polling is usually a negative to an incumbent, but again, it depends on where the targeted advanced polling is.
All right. Well, we'll be watching closely on this side of the border what happens south of here. Thank you so much for your time this morning, Mr. Feigenbaum.
Thank you.